Hi, I'm Judge Desire for Knowledge. Welcome to On Legal Matters, my monthly episodes here on my channel. I'm Judge Desire for Knowledge on YouTube and IAAH Radio. Come join me there for talk radio time. When you can't see me, you can hear me. I'm glad to have all you here today, this Labor Day weekend. And because of it, I won't be able to do live. I normally don't do my Legal Matters show live anyway because I do not have time to answer legal questions right away. So, and basically, I try not to. If you need to leave me the comments on my YouTube channel, I will address them there, if any. And so with that being said, it's always at the end of the month, monthly legal matters. It's called On Legal Matters. And because I do it monthly, it always seems to come up just in time for the holidays when traffic or laws are violated. Like Labor Day weekend, everyone's out and about. I'm going to be out and about. Actually, I'm going to be doing a lot of grilling too. And so I don't have time to do the live even if I wanted to today. So I'm going to be uploading this tape and hope you all enjoy it. Those on IAH Radio, welcome as well. Enjoy it. And my YouTube subscribers, all of you, thank you for your likes and shares and subscriptions. I really appreciate it. Please continuously try to like the video so that others can actually reach out and get it, because there are people in need of listening to certain specific areas of the law that may pertain to them or may not, or may interest them. So on this episode of On Legal Matters, I chose to do the no bail laws. This is a law about bails, cashless bails, and I'll explain. But the title on this one is No Bail Laws. Is the law helping us, or is it helping the criminals? I just wanted to bring that out there, get some water, because sometimes we address things and we change laws, legislature changes laws and or revise them, and for some reason a lot of criminals are on top of making sure that they're ahead of us with the laws, using our own laws against us. I've seen it in the courthouse where I work and all the time when I was near criminal court. Oof, that's a heavy court to work at. I transferred out of there. No, I'm good. But it doesn't mean I don't remember it. And with that being said, I had to deal with bails then, right before the reform came, the bail reform came. So I wanted to go into that subject today and ask, is this law helping us or the criminals? So like I said, on this month of Legal Matters, I'll discuss the no bail laws that was enacted in 2020 of January, I believe. Has the law been good for us law-abiding citizens, or have they been good for the criminals? That's the question we need to ask ourselves, because it's very important. Who has it affected the most, and why was it in place? So, or enacted, I can say both. Really, I think it was Governor Cuomo that did it right before he was taken out of office in New York City. This is this no bail law is in New York City, I believe. I'm only speaking on New York City when it comes to legal matters law, because that's the only place I have the experience in, is New York state laws. So outside of there, you'd have to check with your legal. Google it, go into the legal laws of your state, your county, or wherever it is, that your village. Usually the state law applies to the villages and the counties as well, so you shouldn't have to look for anything other than state laws within your state. So the no bail law, as it applies to eliminate money bail for the majority of cases, so that financial statuses don't determine their freedom. This is what it was supposed to do. However, it has enabled, in my experience, criminals knowingly commit crimes because they take advantage of these laws because it works in their favor. And the smartness of these criminals or defendants, whichever ones you want to call them, because once they get caught, they become defendants, they're still criminals. But the fact is that they are always ahead of the laws that are implemented, and they use it to their advantage. The no bill law is supposed to be the non-violent felonies and misdemeanors, and but that is exactly how the criminals work. You know, they do the crime as long as it's not violent, they'll go around that, and as long as it's not a felony. And see, they know these laws really well, which you and I need to get to know. So come watch my Legal Matters show, because they know more than you do. Some of them foolishly, and some of them they actually study it so they can use it against us in any form or manner that they can to what they do best: take away from others life, liberty, and justice, because that's what criminals do. They take away a lot. And just most recently, we're having a lot of shootings in the New York City area, Bronx, Brooklyn, everywhere. And these bails here aren't particularly helping us in any form or manner, because we're not enabling these laws to take its rightful stance. For instance, if you're giving no bail and no cash bail on people that for nonviolent and misdemeanors, there's still going to be a lot of crime, because they're going to say, oh, they're going to let me loose tomorrow anyway, so why not commit it? And then maybe or maybe not, I'll come back to court. So this is what's addressed. I'm addressing myself. It's a concern for us inside and outside of the courthouse of how this happens. And so, and believe me, it's not up to the judges. The laws are enacted by legislature, and we vote these people in. Basically, that's how it's made through the statutes. Everything that is done, the judge's hands are tied to that law. Not how many years they give you, but to the law. So don't forget that when you're pointing fingers, just read. They have Law for Dummies, not calling you one, but they, you know, those books that help others, self-to-do, self-help books? Well, they're called dummies. So I'm not saying this to be funny. I'm really telling you, if you want to know anything, you can Google it. You can get one of these books, Law for Dummies. They have now I don't even use these things. What do they call? Yeah, AI. Only when needed, I would use it for deep research if needed. But other than that, I really don't. So I did research the new laws on this and the revised bail reform to bring this package together for you so that you can better understand why it was in place and if it really is doing its job. So getting back to that, the criminals work the crime that they do. They make sure it's either not violent or felony. So this way they can get what they want. If they get caught, they get caught, and they're getting out tomorrow. So that's how they think. Because I know I've seen the criminal minded at work, because I actually work in the system. So basically, we're going to see that you're not, unless you come into the courthouses. There's public arena for certain cases like criminals, civil. All these cases are actually public cases. They're in the records, and the public could see them, just in case you didn't know that. The only thing I believe is private is matrimonial and family law. Those you cannot see, and anything dealing with a minor or minors. All right, so getting back to this subject here, they actually use the law created to benefit themselves, and in response to the outburst of crime being done, the no laws, bail laws were enacted just because in response, sorry, to the outburst, it has been reformed, I should say, and revised several times actually throughout 2020 and 2023, such as the list of offenses that are eligible for bail have changed. They've removed the least restrictive means of requirements when setting release conditions on bails, and bail is still being used in serious cases, which hasn't changed. Judges can set demanding they can set bails on remand or release with supervising, depending on supervision, I should say. Some people are being released based on the supervision of someone else, a family member or whomever, and they can be released based on that, depending on what the case is. Remand means instead of keeping them, or they can either keep them or release them. So remand means to keep. If you go to court and they say that remand word, you know you're staying in. Release means you're leaving. And so, on a social impact, before no bails laws, thousands of New Yorkers were jailed. This is the reason why they placed it and enacted this law, because it socially impacted a lot of people. Thousands of New Yorkers were jailed for minor, I should say, offenses, so they couldn't afford bail. Okay, so because they couldn't afford bail, the new no bail reform reduced this inequality. It also reduced jail population by cutting pre-trials, saving costs, and reducing Rikers overcrowdingness. And if you don't know Rikers, that is a detention placed at jail for violators, violent criminals, and minor criminals. All criminals will go to the city, New York City, Rikers Island. Based on your county, with New York City, it's Rikers. Upstate, it's somewhere else. They have Bedford, they have this, they have that, Harrison. They have a lot of different names. I can't go through all of them right now, but this is basically for New York City. If you live in the county of the city, this is where the people go when they're arrested for crimes. However, on a public safety measure, I wanted to say, on top of them reducing this overcrowdiness and eliminating pre-trials and just allowing people to leave based on non-violent and misdemeanors and less felony charges, they weren't able to eliminate overcrowdiness, um, those with less money that couldn't get out. But at the same time, public safety measure critics claim that dangerous people are or were being let out. So, in contrast, many studies have no link, that's what they said, between bail reform and crime, which I don't understand, but many people released under the reform return to court, is what they're saying, to avoid being rearrested. There are isolated cases where defendants commit a crime while out on pretrial, driving the public to fear. Now, my thing is this is what we're hearing here, but we're seeing differently. They're saying one thing, and we're seeing another thing. So for me, being on the inside of it all, I see a different aspect to this. And so we'll move on to the pros and cons with the reform no bail laws. All right, the strengths and the weaknesses of the pros and cons. All right, so for pro fairness, fairness stops people from being jailed. That's what they're saying, that this bail reform is fairness. It stops people from being jailed just for being poor, which I understand. That is great. However, it gets out of hand. So the con here is the public safety. Some cases of recommitting offenses fuel fear. So these people keep committing the same offenses now that we have lifted the bail off of them. Another pro is reduced jail populations. Fewer are held at Rikers for minor charges, which is good. And the con of this is many negative media headlines sensationalize isolated incidents. That's the con. So these isolated incidents are being sensationalized. Um, so they say, but it's in reality. It's, yeah, they do go a little bit overboard, the media, but I believe is that they're losing on this no bail reform that they've put out here, and they don't want us to, they don't want us to know about it. But either way, another pro is economic benefits. It saves taxpayers money by lowering incarceration costs. So that as well as a pro. The con to that is less judicial leverage, where judges feel limited in detaining high level and high risk defendants. You know, repeated offenders, they're going to definitely have to post bail in order to be released. but their has a turn. The judges' hands are tied because of this law, and as an aspect to those that they know will take advantage, but they can't do anything about stopping them until it happens. And that's when we take the blame. The court, the judges, they're the ones that's taking the blame of this legislature, this no bail reform. I'm not saying that they're protect. They're. I'm not saying that they're not responsible for um, all any of it, but I'm just saying they're put in a position of it because half of them did voted in these laws. So now that it's not working in our favor, in their favor, it is what it is. Also, another pro is data shows no crime spike or link between bail reform and rising crime, which I don't believe. But the con to that is a reform is painted as soft on crime and has become a champion issue. So a reform has been painted as soft on crime, which a lot of people are looking at it as that, and that's a con. Another pro is it reduces racial disparities in detention and pre-trials. And a con is the pressure of Trump's order and GOP bills threatening state authority. So basically, like I said, we all have other people that play behind the scenes in these things, and we don't know whether it's working for us or against us, which is why, hence the title that I put here, is it helping us or the criminals? New York bail reform was created for a push for fairness for decades. Thousands of people accused of low-level offenses sat in jail because they were poor and not dangerous, but by eliminating cash bail for most non-violent felonies and misdemeanors, lawmakers tried to ensure freedom. They sure did. Before trial, depending on the facts and not finances. So what we're seeing here is this whole idea was implemented to work for on the facts in front of us and not how much money is it for you to get out of prison, because we're going to keep you there until you get the money. All right. Some believe in reform as worker, as has worked exactly as intended. I don't know, but I don't think so. But here's why. All right. I'm going to show you what the law did. The law ended cash bail for most misdemeanors and non-violent felonies in 2020. The law did was the goal to stop people from being jailed just because they couldn't afford bail. And what the law also did was judges still set the bail for violent crimes, sex offenses, and serious repeat offenses. So this is their argument of what the law did. Now, what the data shows is totally different from what we're hearing. The data shows no proven link between bail reform and rising crime, which I consider not true. I'm doing my research here, so I'm giving you information based on that research, plus what I know as experience. Most defendants released return to court as required. I don't know. We have warrants on a lot of people looking for them. Usually they're out there not coming back to court if they can help it, but they're saying that the data shows that they are coming back, the majority anyway. That sounds good. All right. And it saved taxpayers money and cut equal disparities, which is great. Cutting my money that we're foolishly spending, the taxpayer, those of us who work, for nonsense. I understand that. I agree with. But that's what the data shows. What matters is why it matters, I should say, is bail reform protects the narrative innocent till proven guilty. See, that's the problem. Bail reform is protecting that narrative innocent till proven guilty. And let me say something. I went to a small island and it was the total opposite. It's guilty before innocence. So what they do, they arrest you and you have to go to trial. I forgot the name, Toka something. I have it in one of my I'm out and about travel shows where they base their laws as guilty first, and you have to try to find yourself innocent. You stay in jail until, and you know that has lessened the laws in that area. We know that in New York City, it would apply to most of us that would be the ones they give it to. Here, if we were applied guilty, we would stay in there. We're already having issues with racial disparities as it is, so we wouldn't want that in this state. It's bad enough, right? But over there it works, you know. It's a little island. I can't remember the name, but I'll come back with that on the next time. Even if on my show next week, I will definitely find Tahoga, Dakota, one of those names in the British Islands. It was a very beautiful island, but I like that they did that there. But I know it would not work in New York City because most of people like myself, people of color, would have had to be guilty. That would have played on us, which we know very much so. Not taking sides because I don't believe in racism. I'm not a racist, is what I should say. I don't care about anybody's color, who you are, anything. I just live my life because it's too short to be worried about stupid that doesn't matter. Things that don't matter so much, but we make it matter. You know what I mean? Those that know. And whatever the case is, so that protects the narrative. That's what they're saying here. This is why it matters to have this bail law, and it prevents a system where the rich go free and the poor stay jail. I like that they're doing this. I like that. And that innocent till proven guilty. That is true. That's good. That's why it matters. But does it work? Does it work? Is it working? So the challenges here are a few high profile reoffenses create fear, doubt, and negative headlines. And then the other challenge is some of the media and politicians call it catch and release. So it's basically people are upset about it. You catch them and then you release them into the world. I mean, to catch them again. You know what I mean? But either way. Also, another challenge is ongoing federal and state political fights, which is going on. For example, Trump executive order and the GOP um, pushbacks and all this stuff that's happening in between. Is a lot of fighting going on behind the scenes with this. But the truth is, New York City bail reform, may have been with good intentions, made with good intentions, but it just doesn't seem like it came out that way. But as seen in the past years, like I said, it doesn't seem like it's come out that way. This reform has made our streets and neighborhoods less safe. Judges' hands are tied. It's horrible. By eliminating cash bail for less offenses, it creates a revolving door, I believe, because we've seen the same people come through our doors like it's a movie theater, or it's I don't want to say that they act like it's their home, but they're comfortable and it's okay with them. I don't get that mentality, but we have a lot of people that think like that, criminal minded. Um, the psychologists who deal with criminal minded people would know. And so we are a type of psychologists where we work as well, because we deal with the criminal minded and they think like that. It's a revolving door and they have no shame in that door, coming in and out. Just hi, how are you? With my last name, hello, whatever. Hi, Judge Desire for Knowledge, how you doing today? I'm basically, these people are like not my family, but you might as well. I mean, eat dinner and serve. See you tomorrow, and it's sad. That's the shame of it all. But the revolving doors is the shame, and the fact that the judge's hands are tied. By eliminating cash bail for lesser offenses, this creates that revolving door for them, and many of these defendants being released the same day and then commit a new crime while awaiting trial. This is what we allowed here. So judges are forced to consider when deciding bail, even after rollbacks. The law still needs leans heavily on release instead of accountability, and that's where our problem is. That law, no bail no, cashless law is actually a law that leans too heavily on release instead of um, accountability. And basically, we know that everyone has rights, even criminals have rights. You have to, and they know that too. So they, like I said, they use the laws um, against us who created the laws, us, the voters, the judges, all those that are law abiding citizens. And they don't want to be accountable for them. Now, the ones that I know made a mistake and they are accountable, they won't be back in the prisons. They will not do anything to return back there. But the ones that are a revolving door could kill less. And these are the ones that we release instead of holding them accountable. So, with that being said, I think public safety must come first. It should and always come first. So victims deserve protection from their accusers, and also New Yorkers deserve to feel safe um, at home in their neighborhoods. Bail reform, no cash law hasn't done that, in my opinion, and it fails to balance what we need. We need laws that will balance and hold people accountable, that keep repeating dangerous offenders like that keep going in and out of the system that I see on a daily basis. Or I used to, because I don't work in that part of the court anymore. Thank God. It was horrible. I mean, it's not bad. It's just hard emotionally to see people ruin their lives like that and continue to repeat that system. It's not easy to watch. And those that made the mistake or are innocent is not easy to judge. So that part wasn't good for me. I did years there and it wasn't for me. Um, yeah, I'm where I'm at now. I love it. Um, as I was saying, that the victims deserve protection from their accusers, and therefore these criminals need to be accountable for that. And New Yorkers deserve to feel free, safe. Bail reform, no cash bail, fails to balance that, and we need laws that keep dangerous repeat offenders, as I just said, off the streets. Yes, off the streets. Not policies that weigh the options and gambles with a community safe, the community with community safety, I should say. So I believe that New York City does need the safety net. The laws should come together and see what they need to fix if they want to keep this bail reform, what needs to be done based on what they're seeing and the statistics that people aren't looking at, crime levels and safety of New Yorkers is needed, and we need to voice our opinions out there and start standing up for our communities, our neighborhoods. And it's not called, I believe, what people say, rats or talking about people. It's saving your community. You're not ratting out anyone. You're saving your community from the criminals that know that you're not going to say nothing because they use that terminology all the time. And when you rat on people, you're worried about getting killed. You're going to get killed anyway by these criminals if you allow them to consistently keep your neighborhood hostages and your community hostages. So with that being said, we need to stand up and stand out and be a voice in New York City, a civil voice. The way we do that is we do petitions, we can march, ask the courts to change this bail reform. If you're for it, well then revise it to fit where it fits, because it is not working as far as crime. And if you have any questions about that and you believe what I'm saying is true based on what we're hearing here, you can write in the comments, yes, I believe that, and yes, that's what we need to do for our cities to be safe, and other cities around the country in the United States, because I can only speak for New York City, because lately it's been such a lot going on. We just had a recent shootout in a church in another part, Minneapolis, I believe. And the other day, the whole week has been deadly in the Bronx and Brooklyn. So, yeah, gun laws. I'm not going to say whether I am or for, but I am going to protect myself. No, I carry. Yes, I will. I do. And what only for defense, because I'm not going to allow someone, a criminal, especially a murderer, a killer, to come and hurt me or my family or my neighborhood. I'm not. So yeah, I'm going to protect myself. But as far as the gun laws, they may need to be changed as well, because they're being given to the wrong people. But I do believe that everyone should be prepped up and ready, because we don't know what's coming with these criminals and other things that's going on. There's a lot of crazy people out there. Do it legally. Go get your licenses, your pistol, your rifle licenses. Do it the right way. If you're in mental hospitals, don't hide it, because it's not going to be hidden. Well, then again, yeah, it probably is, because the last person had a mental issue, and sometimes you never know. So that's the hard part. People that want to defend themselves from criminals that want to take, steal, and destroy, we can't, because we giving the guns and license and permits to the wrong people, and the people that really need it, store owners, neighbors, that's not here to kill others but to defend their property, are the ones being taken of their rights at this time. I'll leave it there because it's controversial, so I'm not going to go into that today. But watch me on my next On Legal Matters show, and hopefully we'll see what topic that's about. Please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you like this episode. If you have questions, comment as well. I will get back at you. I hope you all have a safe weekend, Labor Day weekend, because you can still be arrested. Monday, the courts will be closed. However, Sunday, they're open this week for the holiday, so you will be in there this weekend if you do get arrested. Please don't drink and drive, and don't do crime. It's never worth it. You only end up with a record and never be able to work again. If you never chose to work again, what kind of life is it? Either way, it's not worth it. So I hope I don't see you in court unless it's for good news. I'll see you around. I'm Judge Desire for Knowledge, and I got my gavel here, my Legal Matters gavel. I have two types. All right, and here on Legal Matters with me, Judge Desire for Knowledge, bringing you the truth and nothing but the truth, is now adjourned. I will see you next week, Saturday. Enjoy, stay safe, stay blessed. Ciao.